What's
What's up,
up,
man?
man?
How's it going?
Good, good. Same. Honestly, not the same old, same old. I think it's crazy to think that
Uh,
Elon came on the pods, and
yeah,
then the stock went up this morning. Just so much positive for Tesla that it feels weird.
yeah. It does feel a little odd. It's almost like I harken back to Warren Buffett, where he's like, "Hey, be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy." I feel like a lot of folks are greedy on Tesla
Yes.
stock right now, or really just the overall market. And so I'm like, maybe I think you kind of had the same sentiment a couple chats ago, where you're like, I'm good for now. Like I just kind of sit on the sidelines for now, and then obviously if a major dip happens in the next whatever, however long it takes, then you might kind of pile in. But yeah, it does feel like there's a little bit too much exuberance right now in the market. I just get that sense, and I'm like, maybe it's good to kind of just accumulate a little powder and just see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think also someone put out a stat saying that November's um lowest. I guess throughout all of November, basically, we're always up about 11% every single year
On
since the
average,
history
yeah,
of Tesla, I guess. Yeah, on average.
interesting.
And I thought that was a really cool thing to think about, especially because we're in the 400s now. So I'm like 11%. That's gonna be great for us if we walk out of November that way. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's so much positive vibes coming from Elon right now.
Yeah, no, I think and Friday was a testament to that. I don't know if you saw by any chance the little short 4 minute video I posted on Friday afternoon, kind of just with my immediate thoughts of why is Elon going on a 4.5 hour podcast, campaign, so to speak. And he wasn't even, to be clear, he wasn't campaigning for anything. He wasn't campaigning for his stock comp or anything. But the fact that he
Yeah,
spent like 3-ish hours, he spent 3-ish hours on Rogan and then an hour and a half on the All In pod. It's the first thought that came to mind, especially because I think the Rogan podcast came out first and then the Best of You podcast. And then right away when I saw that he was on Rogan for 3 hours, I'm like, oh, the first thing that came to mind is okay, he's feeling good about his comp package. Because why else would you be? Because keep in mind, this is Elon we're talking about. He
yeah.
is like hyper focused. Like I think, and this is my theory, and I think he's kind of said things that kind of basically either proves this theory or supports this theory. The only time that Elon is posting on X or anything like that is either when he's taking a dump or maybe he's just eating. Like taking a break. Like those are the only times. Every other hour of the day, he's either sleeping, to recalibrate his brain while he's sleeping, or just hyper focus on, hey, where am I adding value? Like I feel like that's
He,
his superpower.
he's the prime definition of a dog with a bone.
Yeah,
He gets
exactly.
super fixated on things, and the fact that he didn't say anything proves that he's done. Like he got what he
Yeah,
needed, he got what he wanted. It's over. Also, what they posted too is that he had the link to vote, and it's gone.
he had the link to vote. Oh, I didn't catch that. What? Can you elaborate on
Yeah, he
that?
had the link. Yeah, he had the link to vote on Tesla shares on his profile, and
Oh,
he took it off.
it was like a pinned comment or a pinned post or something.
Yeah, I
Ah,
think it was on his. I don't know if it was. Maybe it was on his bio or something, but
yeah,
it
and he took
showed
it
that
off.
like he wanted people to go vote, but it's gone now.
Interesting. Okay, okay. So he's kind of dropping clues here and there. Um,
Yeah, he's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody and their mother is basically saying 90, 95. A lot of folks are just saying straight up 99.9% chance he has it in the bag. But of course, it's always
Hmm.
nice to get that statement from Tesla saying, "Hey, it's solidified. We're moving forward." So I do wonder what will happen. Let's just say we do hear that Elon's locked it Wednesday night, Thursday. What happens? Like, do we get another little pop, or like how much of the high likelihood that this gets locked and settled by November 6th, like how much of that is already baked into the $1.5 trillion market cap? You know what I mean?
Yeah, or do we
Uh,
hit 80? Someone was talking about $88, 488 before the comp package announcement.
that's what I'm like, because that's basically all time high, right?
Yeah,
Matching all time highs. So it's like, okay, we get to that 48, we lock it in. Do you then have a sell the rumor? I'm sorry, a sell the news kind of event the next day, or do you just keep on rolling? You know what I mean?
maybe a
So
little one, only to like for the people who are trying to get their gains back and just be done with it. Maybe a little bit. I always feel like there's always a little sell off when we hit like a roof.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think we will get a little bit of resistance there in that 480, 490 mark. Maybe 500 we'll get a little resistance. Like at some point you can't just be all hype even though we're in a tremendous bull market right now. At some point we need to kind of be able to back up some of that market cap with dollars on the P&L, with a
Yeah,
little bit of
yeah,
free cash flow, which, if it's true, if you always got to incorporate a little bit of that Elon time. If it's true what Elon says that, hey, by the end of the year we're going to have about 1,000 robotaxis supposedly unmanned by the end of the year
yeah.
in the Bay Area, and then about 500 in the Austin area. it's like, okay, by that point, you can start like modeling out, okay, even with those 1,500 in both Austin and Bay Area combined, like here's kind of what you can expect from a free cash flow perspective. And then just model it out to, hey, by the end of 26, you have maybe 5 times the size at least. What does the cash flow look like? And what multiple do we add on to that? Which would be a high multiple considering, hey, the Tesla, the company can pump out 2 million vehicles per year. Let's just say they allocate 500,000 of those over the next 18 to 24 months to potentially robotaxi fleet. And this isn't just Austin and the Bay Area. Like they're going to eventually grow to LA, Florida, Arizona, Nevada. And so, yeah, I mean, you can start to kind of get wonky numbers at that point. Like, okay, the current 1.5 million or 1.5 trillion dollar market cap justified. Now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now, 24 months from now, if they can get 500,000 robo taxis in different cities throughout the US, $2 trillion market cap, potentially. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing numbers out there. But
Yeah, yeah.
so I imagine that once that is unlocked, take out the safety monitor. How many robo taxis are you actually going to have out there? Okay, here's our model that once you input those variables, here's the market cap that spits out 2 trillion, two plus, or
Yeah,
whatever. I'm just kind of a
yeah.
dummy speaking here, not financial advice. But yeah, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. I think we just got to lock in Elon for the next 10 years. We also got to provide him with like extra super duper security, protect that man at all costs. Because
Seriously.
and I know I might sound selfish here, from as a Tesla investor, but also just for the overall interest of humanity, just what he is contributing to humanity overall, right? Like the mission statement now is sustainable abundance for everybody. Like that's implied. And so I think
Yeah,
I really do think we got to protect this man at all costs. He's our only Edison at this point, and I don't see others currently out there like him. So
yeah.
anyway,
I like that the heat has gone off of Elon. So yes, definitely protect him. I like that Kamala Harris came out to say like, I might not like him, but the fact is he's an innovator and he should have been invited to the White House. I think that's super important to just outwardly speak about when it comes to regardless of what side people might think they're on or whatever.
yeah,
If there is a someone who is going to help everyone, it doesn't matter what their almost it doesn't matter what their beliefs are.
yep,
It just matters what they're willing to provide for the good of mankind generally. Um, I think also when they talked about the numbers, basically we're just gonna have more cars than Waymo by the end of this year almost.
yeah.
And they were saying what, 10 cities and 100 cars per city, 100 to 200 cars. That's the goal, which is way more than Waymo, which is poetic.
Yeah, no, I do really appreciate how they're taking it slow. I know that a lot of us, especially in this day and age where we're so used to instant gratification, I do like how they're taking it slow because it's so crucial to kind of make sure you leave no stone unturned, especially when it comes to driving around, 7,000 pound machines that are, manless, and
Yeah,
so you got to make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, you know what I mean? And so I do appreciate that they're taking it slow in that regard. And maybe we'll talk about this in a little bit, but sticking to the current topic, but just a little bit of a tangent. 14.1.5 came out on Cybertruck today, and I watched a couple clips from Chuck Cook, and he seems to be like loving this new update on Cybertruck. Like it's almost like better than the Model Y 14.1.4, I think is what I have right now. And
wow.
for example, he's not experiencing any of the brake stuttering, none of the hesitation. Like it feels confident, and that's super reassuring considering that you don't have a ton of Cybertrucks out there to do a ton of training on. I'm sure they have a
Yeah,
lot of videos still, but maybe there is a little bit of simulation training. There's a little bit of trying to feed off of the Model Y video data that they're training off of or stuff like that. Um, and so it's reassuring to
sorry to
know
cut
that
off a
even on
little bit.
Cybertruck that is kind of performing well. And so one of the questions that he did bring up is like, could it be the weight of the Cybertruck that maybe is not is helping kind of make the brakes feel smoother, like the physical weight?
Mm,
Uh and that could be the
that's
case. I
interesting.
don't know. I'm still a firm believer that even with dot releases, like different point releases, we can still continue to see refinement and the overall smoothness of of uh, of V14, but
Yeah,
I don't think we have to wait until 14.2 to feel the improvement in that, but maybe 14.2 is kind of the overall final polished product, so to speak. But anyway, that was just to kind of say, hey, even with a Cybertruck, like Chuck Cook, and he mind you, he does kind of criticize it here and there where it needs to be criticized. So the fact that he's singing nothing but praises about FSD on Cybertruck, I think that's a huge milestone for the company And for me personally, not personally, but from my standpoint, that's a huge milestone when it comes to potentially licensing out FSD, licensing out to other OEMs that have larger cars, larger SUVs. You just kind of have similar or camera placements that the Cybertruck has, and you got a good autonomy feature in your car, And so that
Yeah,
that was kind of the first thing that came to mind is, hey, if the Cybertruck is already this good, and we don't have as many, I imagine we have maybe less than 500,000 Cybertrucks out there. If it's already that good, especially compared to like, I don't know, 5 million Model Ys out there. I don't know how many there are, but uh, if it's already that good, then, when it comes to licensing out to like a Ford or, a GM down the road with larger vehicles, larger trucks, larger SUVs, then, that this kind of bodes well for that potentially
yeah,
happening.
yeah. It does.
So anyway, that was kind of my thought on that being another potential cash generator for Tesla down the road. So anyway,
Yeah. Did
going
you
back on topic.
see? Did you see Lemonade pitched to them
I did.
that they were willing to do basically a zero, like all the way down almost to $0 on insurance for FSD? Ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know if Tesla's down to do it though.
it'll be interesting because, Tesla insurance hasn't really budged over the last what 12 to 18 months. Like we haven't really heard any updates on that. So thankfully I
Yeah.
myself I have Tesla insurance. So far I haven't really needed to rely on it very much, knock on wood. Hopefully nothing happens, nobody bumps into me or anything like that. But yeah, that was interesting that the Lemonade CEO kind of reached out and said, "Hey, we're willing to do it almost for free." Obviously they still have to cover, like if a hit and run, for example, like if you get hit and let's just say that car drives away. Obviously the Tesla would be able to record the license plate and all that stuff. But for the most part, let's just say they don't have license plates and they drive away. Like you still got to cover that somehow, and Lemonade would kind of step in and cover it. So that's where the not zero would come in. Like they still got to cover something.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, it's like I think it's a huge deal. I don't know how much weight there is behind that, but I imagine when FSD comes out, especially considering that your traditional insurance providers probably aren't really too aware of like how safe it is. Like I think a no-brainer would be, hey, if you're using FSD, it's 10 times safer than a human, 5 times safer than a human. So the likelihood of you getting into an accident that is caused by your car is 5 times
So
less,
much
10 times
lower.
less, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exponentially
exactly.
less likely.
And so by default, it's like, okay, lower probability of accident, lower premium. Like that should be the equation. But
Yeah.
obviously that's not how insurance companies work. It's like, hey, no, no, no. It's the standard kind of esoteric, kind of boring, like, hey, this is your age. If you're less than 25, you're most likely to speed, whatever, whatever, all these different things. If you're a
Yep.
male under 25, like you get a higher premium by default. Like that sucks. Like if it's FSD, it should just be safer by default,
Yeah.
lower premium,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is
And
exciting though.
I think Lemonade has always been one of those like AI type.
Yeah.
They see the data. They
Yep.
see the data, so they know like, hey, if we see the numbers, it makes sense. So let's just make it cheaper for everyone because
Right.
regardless, we make our money. And the fact that I we'll see. I don't know if Tesla is willing to do something like that, but I feel like maybe they'll just do it themselves and just lower our insurance for people who use FSD consistently, or maybe I don't know how often it'll tell you like, hey, this is how much you have to use FSD for your insurance to go down so much. But I would love for my insurance to go down. I would not mind that at all. As for the Elon pods, like I feel like he pushed so much about the robots, and I feel like he pushed so much about the rockets, and kind of explaining it down in layman's terms how the rocket has evolved over time and how much better it's getting. I think it's
Yeah.
so cool that he came out and talked about that. I again, I feel like it's so interesting that he didn't talk about his compensation package at all. Or
Yeah.
he didn't bring it up at least. And it's gonna be such an exciting week. I literally said to my brother-in-law last week on Friday, I said it's gonna be a good week for Tesla next week.
Yeah.
Like the Dodgers won and he was all hyped, and I was like, well, it's gonna be a better week. Watch. It's not done. It's not
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. It's not over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting. And that was one of the things I brought up in my short 4-minute video that I posted on Friday was Chamath and the All In Pod. He kind of wanted to ask something related to the compensation vote. And it's so hard to tell, but it seemed like Elon was just kind of dodging that question. Like right off the bat, I think he was jumping to like ISS and Glass Lewis and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then basically, I think he said it on the Rogan podcast and not on the All In, but I think he basically said the only time he sort of alluded to it was like, hey, I just don't, I wouldn't build. Oh, I think it was on the All In. I wouldn't want to build an AI army if I didn't have the vote. And obviously we're kind of reading between the lines and we might be reading into it too much, but basically he didn't say if I don't get the vote. He said if I didn't have the vote or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
voting
Yeah.
power, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's semantics potentially, but I read into that and I'm like, okay, he kind of has said in the past, I believe he's like, if I don't get the votes, I don't feel comfortable moving forward, etc. But this time
Yeah,
he didn't say it that way. He's like, if I don't have the vote, he said it in a way where it's like, hey, he's almost super duper confident he's going to get it. It's more so if I had not gotten the votes necessary, I wouldn't move forward, but he didn't
yeah,
really say it in a way that alludes to that. So yeah, hopefully nothing but good signs there. And like we said in the beginning, the fact that he's willing to spend 4.5, and mind you, it's not just the 4.5 hours. Like there's a lot of stuff they cut out, so it's probably like at least 6 hours in total. Getting set up, even chatting with them in the green room beforehand with the besties, and then potentially I don't know, and then obviously to Rogan, he has to like physically drive there, right?
yeah,
Um, so it's definitely at least half a day, 6 hours out of a day just for the podcast, and so I feel like, especially considering a week before his comp vote, like he would want to be out there trying to rally the troops in some way,
yeah,
shape, or form, right? So,
yep.
so anyway,
What's up with the shirt thing? I feel like a lot of people were digging into that on X, but I didn't understand what is it that they were looking at.
yeah, a lot of people. Again, this is like really trying to read too far in between the lines, but yeah, some folks were. The one that I remember is obviously TSLA is the ticker symbol, and some guy, I forget who it was, but he's like, hey, he's got TSLA, the ticker symbol, but it doesn't have the E, and so Tesla without E for Elon is nothing or something like that, something to that effect. But I don't know because that's the first time I've actually ever seen him wear TSLA. Like he's always wearing like Occupy Mars or just different shirts, but I don't recall ever seeing him wear the Tesla ticker symbol on his shirt. You know,
Yeah.
and
He doesn't
so,
really he doesn't talk much about the stock, and it's interesting because I feel like when he does, it's more of a not a negative, but he's just like I remember when he tweeted like the stock should not be this high or something like that.
yeah, Tesla stock too expensive in my opinion, or something like that. Yeah, that was a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things where he does talk about the stock every so often, but he never
Yeah,
again, like you said, he never wears it on his body to show like this is what we're doing here.
yeah, no, exactly. And so that's what's interesting is could and I know we as Tesla enthusiasts we like to read between the lines all the time, but could he be kind of just tipping the cap at like, hey, this might be your
Hurrah.
last little kind of not hurrah, but just more kind of this might be the last sort of base you see in the stock before we potentially go parabolic,
Yeah.
so like get your shares now while you still can at this sort of like market cap.
Price point.
Yeah. So that could potentially be one indicator. I mean, he doesn't just willy-nilly put on shirts. And then especially on Rogan, where he knows he's going to get potentially tens of millions of people watching, right? Or listening.
Yeah.
Now watching it is a different story because most people on Spotify, they just throw it on and they don't even watch it. They just watch it or listen to it in the car. But some folks like myself, like I watched it on YouTube, they publish it on YouTube too. Like I like to watch it. And so
Yeah.
it could just be him kind of tipping the cap, potentially saying, "Hey, this is the investment you might want to have in your portfolio, going forward." Just saying, So
Yeah, yeah.
I did.
I also think that when he was wearing it, since he was wearing it on both podcasts, I feel like when people started seeing that, they dug real deep. Um,
Yeah,
I really hope if this is the lowest, that's gonna be such an interesting thing to say. Like, hey, like I bought it. People are going to be able to say next year or the year after, like, hey, I bought it under like $500.
yeah. Like I bought it at sub 400,
And
at sub 500, and be like, "Damn, that was a
yeah,
steal."
yeah. To them, it's gonna be mind blowing, like for the next couple generations, especially if like you're new to Tesla and you're investing right now. You're gonna have like this weird flex to say like I bought it in 2025 before Robotaxi and the robots started coming out and doing their thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be insane. And I feel like that's exactly why, as retail investors, and again, none of what we say here is financial advice or anything like that, but as retail
Never.
investors, like the statement that gets thrown out for us is like that we have information arbitrage, that we have so many folks in the Tesla community that are experts, like legit experts in robotics and
Facts,
energy.
facts.
I remember back in the day when it was really just mostly just the auto company. I remember when Sandy Munro, the
Yeah,
tear down Titan, right? Like we would listen to that
yeah,
guy, like, oh, what kind of things are they doing to the Model Y to like strip down costs, but still provide a premium experience, like all that stuff. Like I remember used to listen to him, and all these different experts, and I would listen to Herbert's 1 hour chat with CERN. I love it when he talks to CERN. I think it was like a few days ago. I listened to it today for the first time. So much content I got to catch up on. But basically,
yeah.
the one thing that, and I think you and I have stated in the past, and everybody has stated as well, is hey, the nice thing, the luxury that we have as retail shareholders is that we have the luxury that we don't have to report to like our boss or our clients saying we're going to achieve we're going to strive to achieve X amount of return by the end of this calendar year or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Yeah. That's yeah.
I mean, maybe some folks might have wives that need to kind of report, hey, here's my return for the year. Like we can continue investing in Tesla or whatever. But for us, we're
I
like,
feel
hey,
bad
we're
for them.
looking at,
I feel bad for them.
and so for us, we have until 2030 and beyond. Like if we're considering
Yeah.
retiring early, it's like, okay, we're not planning to retire early before like Optimus really starts taking off. Like we're not going to
Yeah.
tap our shares until we see Optimus at a meaningful kind of scale, right? And
Yeah.
so that's the luxury that we have is like one, information arbitrage because we have so many experts in the community, and then two, we have the greatest asset, which is time. And so that's the beauty of like the arbitrage that we can potentially be kind of taking advantage of right now is
Yeah.
that that's
Harnessing.
why institutions don't have that luxury, and they're the ones that have the bags to pile in, right? And so it's
Yeah.
just a matter of getting in before they actually see the writing on the wall and the dollars flowing through the P&L and eventually the cash flow statement. So that's what's exciting about it for us retail shareholders.
Yeah. The run from 20 to 2025 was such a mistake by people who were not touching Tesla. Like
Yeah.
it sounds ridiculous to think that, and it's gonna sound ridiculous later. I think again, not never financial advice, but the idea of it is so wild to me that I always thought that, oh, they're gonna make more breakthroughs with FSD. And then once I got the car, I was just like, this is amazing. And then now that I'm watching all these videos, especially anyone riding with Mad Max, like the idea of your car having such a on time, like the someone compared it to a professional driver, and not for speed, but more for the agility and the ability to react to things. And I thought that was so cool. Like I haven't been, once I get a ride with you, I guess I'm gonna figure that out. But I feel like that's one of those things that my brain is so boggled by the idea of a professional driver driving you. And I like the term
Yeah.
that Elon Musk said, where he said, you don't really want to drive. Like you don't
Right.
think like in an Uber, I'm gonna take over for the driver. Like that's not what you think. And when he said that, that is true. I find that so hilarious when people are like, I love driving. Yeah, so do I sometimes. But that doesn't mean all the time. That
Right.
means that like
100%.
I get on and I get my like kicks out of it, like yay, this is fun. And then after that, I'm done. Like I'm cool. Like I can go the rest of the ride not driving if I don't feel like it. And
Yeah.
then also, I came back from Adobe Max last week, and every time I go there, because ever since AI started coming out, I'm just like, all right, when is the part of my design area? When does that job start becoming almost obsolete for certain people, like job wise? I think as an artist, I'm always going to want to make things, but I
Yeah.
think as a job, for those people who have hired graphic designers, that's a tough sell. And there's certain
Yeah.
tools that they just implied onto Adobe that are going to be very helpful. But again, it's one of those things that I go every year and I go, so is my job gone? And the idea of us being in 2030 and being able, for those people who piled in and got enough stock for themselves and weren't held back by finances, whether that be their wife or the whoever's managing their money, those people are all going to have a like even if you had 100 shares, I feel like it's gonna be you're gonna be sitting pretty. Maybe not retirement pretty, but I could be completely wrong, especially because of how much they revealed in the last couple days. Maybe I'm completely wrong about it, but even 100 shares will be great for anyone who is thinking of retirement,
I agree.
especially early.
I excuse me, I agree, especially considering that there's a very real possibility that if they can execute on autonomy at scale um and Optimus at scale, I mean you're looking at least, potentially I'll call it like $2,000 a share, right? Which would make it roughly like a $9 trillion market cap, which I think even that is kind of a little on the lighter side, if you compare it to some models out there.
Yeah,
And so it's
some
like,
models
oh,
are wild.
dude, somehow it's crazy. I'm like, dude, 50 trillion, like 75 to 100 trillion. Like, dude, I'm like, bro, let's just get to like a couple trillion first, right? Like, let's take baby
Yeah,
steps
yeah,
there. But still,
yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah, $2,000 a share. If you have if you have 100 shares, like you're sitting at 200K. Like, that's not too bad. And even if you put that in an index fund at that point, like let's just say, hey, 2000 is like the most it's going to ever be. You put in an index fund, let's just say you can get like 10% a year on that. You're looking at 20,000 a year. So just like if you can kind of get back with your like bare necessities on 20K a year, that continues compound, and obviously it's 20K the first year and then 20K, 22K the next year or whatever it is, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah, even with the 100 shares, I think right now the number that they're throwing out with a modestly kind of bullish outlook in the next 5 to 10 years on on Tesla share price is like 300 shares. Like if you can lock in 300 shares, you're kind of set for retirement, so to speak.
I remember
Because
when I was aiming for that. I
for
was like,
300,
if I can have just 300, I'll be fine. And that was the goal. And I was just in my head, I was like, I would always tell like my siblings and stuff, like, hey, get 300. If you can get
Yeah.
300, you're good to go. People don't listen, but hey, again, not investment advice on my end. It was just to my siblings, and
Yeah.
hey, everyone's gonna do what they're gonna do.
Right.
But I think it's and the fact that all this stuff came out all at once this weekend, I needed to hop on with you. I feel
For
like
sure.
I was like, we gotta talk about this real quick because I think if we don't, we're gonna be like beating ourselves up over the head because we're like, look how cool this is, and
Yeah.
then and then also the idea of possibly like the stock being over 488 or whatever when people are saying, if
Yeah.
if the hype was completely there and no one's looking at numbers, you never know. It might go over 500 and people are gonna be like, this is insane that Tesla just blew up overnight all because Elon got what he wanted. And everything else that we're voting for, of course, too. Like all of those things that we're about to find out, whether some of those are approved or not, all of those are going
Yeah.
to benefit too. But Elon is definitely the biggest catalyst.
100%. 100%. I mean, he holds such a premium to the stock, you know, like he
Yeah,
alone, the key man risk is always present. But I do think that you know, with autonomy, let's just say, you know, God forbid something does happen to Elon or he just decides to leave or whatever. I think that Tesla still has kind of the manpower and the leadership to move forward with autonomy and robotaxi. I think Optimus would probably, I don't know if it would not ever see the light of day, but if it does, probably in a very limited fashion, you know, like
yeah,
not a massive impact to society. I would think energy continues to grow massively over time. So I think there's still like a lot of growth potential for Tesla without Elon. Now it'll grow a lot more slowly and it'll grow a lot less than if Elon were at the helm, right? So
yeah,
so it's 100% crucial to keep Elon on board, not only for shareholders, not only for employees, but just for, again, going back to what I said in the beginning, just the future of humanity, the future of civilization, to have a more sustainable future, you know, one
yeah,
that is relying on more sustainable energy, cleaner transportation, cheaper transportation, and eventually with robotics, with you know, Optimus, just enabling the kind of mass deflation of goods and services. You know,
yeah,
that's I think ultimately what Optimus and all robotics will enable is like, hey, instead of hiring a human, you're hiring a robot that is a fraction of the cost, doesn't call out sick, you don't need to pay insurance, you don't need to do any of this, and they work 24/7 for the most part.
yeah.
The price of goods is going to just massively tank, and so more folks are going to be able to afford their goods and services at a fraction of the current today's costs. You know, and so
Hmm.
I think just for the good of humanity, because even other companies are going to be able to benefit from the 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 trail that Elon and Tesla are kind of blazing for other companies. You know, they did the same for EVs, like GM and Ford. Like they wouldn't be on the path they are right now with EVs. Like the Ford Lightning selling pretty well. I think you know, the Cadillac, the EV Cadillac, and all these, and the Blazer, like they're selling pretty well. They would have never been on this current trajectory if it weren't for Tesla. You know,
Yeah,
same thing with autonomy. Everybody's now touting the autonomy bandwagon. You know, they're all jumping on it.
yep.
I think I saw that Rivian's going to have their autonomy day December 9th or whatever. So who knows what that entails. But now we're all shifting from, oh, EV hype to autonomy hype, and eventually
Autonomy hype. Yeah,
it's going to be robotics hype. You know, like I would say the
yep.
next 5 years all about robotics. You're going to see a lot of other companies try to get into it that are publicly traded. Like right now, obviously, it's all, for the most part, with the exception of Tesla, it's all, you know, private companies doing it. But yeah, I just think the next 5 years are going to be amazing if we can kind of keep Elon motivated, incentivized, because it's not only going to benefit Tesla, it's going to benefit other companies that are wanting to kind of learn off of the technology that Tesla is putting forward. You know?
I think we talked about this before that Elon has been almost sandbagging a little bit when it comes to Tesla. And after he stopped doing all his political stuff, how he
Mm,
started kind of slow jogging a little bit more. And then now with this compensation package, it showed that he was still slow jogging. And after, I feel like he's going to hit such a sprint right after
for
he gets his
sure.
compensation package. I feel that even in the next couple, last 2 months of this year are going to be insane, especially because of the fact that he said he wants it in 10 cities by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think V14 is such an example of like how wild it can be from going from all I was in V like 10 when I got my car, so that was what, maybe sometime la two
Oh,
years ago or
V10.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 2.5 years ago.
And it was driving like a child. And now
Yeah.
we're at professional level driving, and I think the idea of also the cyber cab, the fact that it went through and in and out, drive through. I didn't know this, but I guess it's like a
Tradition.
tradition to drive through with one of the Teslas through an In-N-Out drive-through. And I feel like again, he's showing, hey, this is it, guys. He wore the shirt, the car drove through. He's saying 1,500 by end of the year. He's saying 5 different cities with 100 to 200 cars. I don't see why it can't happen. I think it's gonna happen so fast by the end of this year. And the cool thing again, like you said, they were very thorough and slow with the rollout. Like in the beginning, it was like every other week we would get a new announcement. And then we
Yep.
just got an expansion, what, last week. So if we see like we're in Arizona now, we're in Nevada now, we're in blah blah blah. I would love to see it in Nevada too, because of the fact that they already have the tunnels there. So
Yeah.
for it to be all over the strip, that's gonna be so sick. So many tourists, so many people coming out from different parts of the world just to go gamble. They're gonna be like this. Getting around in Vegas is gonna be such a cool experience if you just have a bunch of Teslas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just put like 4 or 500 just in Nevada right there. People are gonna be so hyped. And then also in New York, the idea of having it in Manhattan would be amazing.
That'd be sick.
V14 in Manhattan, I think that's gonna be amazing. And then again, they're gonna keep iterating, making it better, and V15 is gonna be cherry on top probably next year. But the idea of all the cities coming out by end of year, at least that's the goal, right? I do think Elon's going to push that heavy once he gets voted in.
I think so. I think so. I think one thing that comes to mind as you were saying that, especially with like V14, what came to mind is like we're still only on AI 4, hardware 4. And I don't know if you saw, I think it was a day or two ago, Elon posted about his meeting over the weekend on what AI 5 chip is going to look like, what
Yeah,
AI
yeah,
6 is going to look like, what AI 7 and AI 8 is going to look like. I mean, the fact that he's already talking about AI 8, he's showing commitment like long term. Like that's
yeah,
another kind of tidbit of, hey, he's locked in the incentive package. He's ready to roll. Let's
yeah.
go,
That's true too. That's true too.
So the
He's
fact that
locked
he's
in
talking
for
about
at
AI
least
8,
7 years.
yeah,
He's locked in for at least 7 years because once he hits the first tranche, he still can't sell those for 7 years. Point blank period.
yeah.
So he has to finish up all the other tranches, and then maybe we still have him for another up to like 10 years from now. By then, it's gonna be insane. The world's gonna change so drastically. By then, it's gonna be
So
insane.
crazy, dude. What's
Like,
crazy to me? Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was speechless. I wasn't even gonna say anything.
Well, this is probably going to make you even more speechless, I would imagine. So, what's crazy to me is that the tranches, from a market cap's perspective, they top off at 8 trill. I
Yes.
imagine if we have 400 billion of EBIT, which is like the operational milestone, if we have 400 billion of EBIT, the market cap is going to be very likely much higher than 8 trillion. Like, I don't know. I think Sternbasher and a couple other folks were like 20 trillion at that point. If you got 400 trillion or 400 billion of EBIT, that means that you're kind of full steam ahead on Optimus, and you're probably going to make another 400 billion on top of that in the coming years, right? And so you
Yeah.
would think, okay, for sure, double the 8 trillion to 16 trillion at least. Because
Yeah.
you're going to be such a high growth company, you can continue pumping these Optimus out that your multiple, you're going to demand a super high multiple, 150 multiple. And so that's the thing that, going back to Farzad and what he said, he's like, it's going to be hilarious when Tesla's the only company ever to be at a $10 trillion market cap with 150 multiple at least.
Yeah.
And so once we get to that point, let's just say he hits all the tranches, a you know aside from market cap, but he gets that 400 billion of EBIT. What is the next comp package at that point? Because you can imagine we're maybe at a $15 trillion market cap, and so to keep them incentivized, like, are you gonna set a tranche of like $100 trillion market cap at that point? Because you're already at like 15, right? And so maybe you just, okay, maybe, yeah, you jump to maybe, I don't know, 30, 35 trillion, 40 trillion market cap, to be more conservative.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you just look at it from a multiple perspective, obviously we're getting into the law of big numbers, but
No,
I
no,
think
no.
they published, yeah, like they published his compensation package when I think the Tesla stock was at like a trillion market cap. So it's like, okay, an 8x from there, right? Once we're at
Yeah.
15 trillion, maybe even being conservative, okay, maybe a 3x. It's like, okay, we're already a super massive company, 15 trillion. Like there aren't other companies that are around this mark. Maybe just say, okay, we only grow a 2x from here to keep you motivated, right? Like to keep you Elon motivated, you got to get to 30 trillion. Like, isn't that boggling? You know what I mean? Like, I just,
That's gonna be insane.
because
Do
you're
you,
going to want to keep them around, right? So,
yes. Do you think at that point Tesla starts consuming some of the other companies like that are under the Elon net, like Neuralink, Boring Company? Does it
no,
be, you
no,
don't think so?
you don't want a monopoly like that. You don't want a company that is like an all powerful company that is like in brain
Probably not.
surgery. And I don't think so,
Probably not.
man.
Probably not. But
Yeah.
the only reason I bring it up is because they did consume solar. Like Sun
But
City was consumed.
remember the legal issues they had after that though?
Yeah,
They had
I know.
massive legal issues. I just don't think they touched that with the 10-foot pole. It's just too many legal issues. Uh, you know, I don't know. I don't think so because you have a massive target on your back from a regulatory standpoint. It's like,
There,
hey, one guy controls robotics, energy, autonomous driving, brain
chips in your brain.
implants. Yeah, it's like there's no way. No,
He
I
already
don't think
does.
so.
He already does.
He
He
kind of
already
does. Yeah.
does. Yeah, he already does. But it's funny because there was I was talking to my assistant and he was saying that he was talking to someone and they were talking mad crap on Tesla and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
then when he walked into their house, they had Tesla solar in their house.
Uh,
And he was like, "I thought you didn't like it. I thought you didn't like that company." And they were like, "It's the only company that does it right."
yep. 100%. That was
That's what it's gonna
yeah.
that's what it's gonna be like. That's what it's gonna be
Yep.
like where certain people are gonna be like, "Oh, I bought the Tesla because I kind of had to. It
Yeah.
was just it made the most sense. Like I pay
Makes
zero on
sense.
insurance.
Yep.
I pay like $20 for electricity, and if you put like a hefty down payment, you're only paying like what it was 10K. He was putting like 10K down. It was $500 or $600 a month, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like if you were to only pay that by itself right now, that's like such a beautiful thing. And then in a few years from now, the whole subscription base is going to be so much more worth it for most people. They're like, I'm converting my car into my garage into an ADU. I'm done with this whole car thing in my garage anyways. Like that's going to
Yeah.
be insane.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And the fact that kids these days, and I call them kids, but let's just say they're 10 years younger than us. Like
Yeah.
they're already using Uber Eats and DoorDash and Uber and Lyft. They're using that like on a daily. And so
Yeah.
when Tesla makes that even more accessible and more economical, like a fraction of the cost of what all these different services are charging, and mind you, no tips. That's the biggest thing. Oh, these kids are
No
gonna pounce all
tips.
over that. Yeah, they're gonna pounce
They're going to
all over
love
that.
that.
So
Yeah.
cool, man. Any last thoughts before the shareholder meeting this Thursday? I'm so stoked.
No.
I
No,
know last time
I'm
we
hyped
talked
that
to
we talked.
yeah, I really am. I don't know if you could tell, but um, yeah, the last few days when we talked a few days ago, I admittedly, like I said, I was a little nervous about hey, the potential outcome of the
Yeah.
vote. Now after having slept on it for the last few days after Elon went on the pods, it's like okay, I think he's for the most part we can almost say he's got it in the bag. Obviously, I don't want to be
Yeah, yeah,
complacent,
yeah.
but for the most part
Yeah.
we can say he's feeling good.
They
He's
got to
feeling
say
like
it.
he's going to lock it in. And so now it's just a matter of sit back and enjoy the ride. Hopefully on Thursday. That's the expectation now.
There's nothing ever wrong with being a little pessimistic on something like Elon and Tesla.
Okay. It's we're in
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah. I mean, worse things have happened in the past, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
facts. Yeah.
but
There's been so many times where I'm like the stock is going to blow up, it's going to be insane, and then something happens to for it to come back down, and I go,
yep,
this is what I
yep,
get. This is what I get for getting hyped, and this is what I get for thinking we were going to the moon.
100,
But hey,
100,
never investment advice, and this is why it's never investment advice.
exactly. You gotta. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a very
No.
volatile stock. I think it will always kind of be a volatile stock until we start just printing money left and right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a heck of a ride the last 15 years that Tesla's been around. It's crazy.
All right. I
So
think that's it, bro. This is
that's
where
a
we end
wrap.
it. It's a wrap. I'll see you Friday.
Nice. Yeah,
I think
man.
I'm gonna
Let's
be
chat on
driving.
Friday.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be driving to Sedona, so I'll probably
Nice.
do it on the way there. I'll probably
Okay.
do the pod on the way there.
That works. I mean, you're going to be on a straightaway the whole time. So
Yeah.
FSD all the way.
Yeah. All right then.
So cool, man. Hey, have
Peace,
a good
man.
night. Looking forward to our chat on Friday.
Yeah, me too, me too. Hopefully they let us know beforehand. It's gonna be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Peace.
Cool, man. See ya.
See ya.